We'll be going live here in 1 minute. This is Stephen Pope, founder of My Amazon Guide. Today we'll be joined by Jon Tilley of ZonGuru, CEO, and we'll be talking about Amazon tools. Stay tuned. Welcome to My Amazon Guys podcast. Today, we're going to be having a guest, Jon Tilley, CEO of ZonGuru. He'll be joining us momentarily. Today, we'll be focused primarily on Amazon tech, tools, and things it takes to manage your Amazon account, though you may ask Jon other Amazon questions if you so choose today. Every Friday at noon, we do a live Q&A Eastern Standard Time with me, your host, where you can ask any Amazon question. Check us out tomorrow if you've got broader and other Amazon questions. So with that, I'm going to bring in our guest, Jon Tilley. Thanks for coming on the podcast today.
What's up, man? I'm super excited to be here and super excited to share and just hear from everyone here. So how are you doing over there?
Doing great. So Jon, I understand you're from South Africa. You're over in LA right now, but you've got some Krugerrand blood in you. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we were just talking before. We both have a Krugerrand. I think my dad gave me one when I think my date on my Krugerrand is 1964. It's a gold coin for anybody listening. But yeah, I'm from South Africa originally, grew up in Johannesburg, left there when I was about 24 and went over to London for a few years and lived there and had a good time and then made my way over to Los Angeles. And I've been in Los Angeles for a few years. So this is home, Los Angeles. Yeah.
Well, very good. So we did a review of your tool about a couple weeks ago. It actually prompted you to reach out. We then aired your response because I thought it was pretty solid. And so then we're like, well, we should just bring you on and maybe other people are going to have questions today. So let's spend a couple minutes just talking about, a little bit about your background, and then we'll open it up to anybody in our viewers who has a question either about ZonGuru or about any Amazon tech and tools. So Jon, when did you make ZonGuru? Why did you make it?
Yeah, so this is going back, kind of touching on kind of my last few years. My career mainly was in advertising. I was a strategist in advertising for over 10 years, and it was in Los Angeles. And one of my good friends, Adam Hudson, we kind of stumbled into a conference on Amazon in Vegas. That typical story. I think it was 2013 or 2012, somewhere around there. And the penny dropped for me. I was just like, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've had a really successful career in advertising, and I wanted to make the jump for many years. But this was my chance to make that jump. And I started diving into starting an Amazon business. And I think it took me about a year using my creative and my business skills to launch a product on Amazon and get to a position where I could fire myself from the agency that I was at and kind of pack my box and walk out. And that was 2014. And because I started generating revenue on Amazon. And pretty soon after that, obviously back in those days, I think the idea of data and what we needed to make sure we made confident decisions for our Amazon business was lacking in a lot of areas. And we knew Amazon was going to grow. And we saw this opportunity to create software as a service for the Amazon industry and launched it and started ZonGuru back then. And yeah, that was the start. So we've been around for a long time. Back in 2014, 2015 is when we launched. Bootstrapped, and a lot of trials and tribulations, and standing up in the back of bars and presenting to a few people who started the Amazon business and trying to coach them. So that's kind of the journey of myself and Zon Guru in terms of the Amazon space. And first and foremost, I think there's just a massive passion for selling on Amazon. I truly believe that still today and back then, it is the best shot we have of creating an e-commerce products business on the biggest platform, not only on the US, but globally. And we can talk more about that because there's massive opportunities globally right now. But, you can start this business and you can scale and get financial wealth in a quick way. So that's number one, my passion and trying to help people do that. And obviously Zon Guru is a massive part of that. And we've built the team. It's global. And I'm kind of a co-founder and CEO of the business. So that's the journey.
So I love the journey. My first question for you is who comes up with the names of these? So love, hate, relationship. Sounds like somebody's been burned before.
I think love, hate, and keywords on fire were both me. I came up with those names. Some of the other ones.
Who hurt you when you were younger, Jon?
Yeah.
So one of the coolest tools that I think Zon Guru has that I've not seen anywhere else is the ability to see your competitor's search term field. How did you come up with that idea?
I think it's how we come up with, obviously. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on that as well.
Sure.
One of the things that I've always aim to do with Zon Guru is because of that passion for selling on Amazon, is that I've always encouraged and incentivized my team to sell products on Amazon as well. I truly believe you can do both. You can have an amazing career in Zon Guru, and you can have an Amazon business. And obviously for CEO of Zon Guru, if I have staff and members who actually sell on Amazon, it's just a win-win for both of us. So, we actually give a up to $5,000 0% loan for anybody who's starting their Amazon business in our team who can actually launch a product. And over the years, that's resulted in probably, a good 40% of our staff actually having Amazon businesses. So, they always trying to solve problems that we have. So we really stand behind that idea of for sellers by sellers. And the way we obviously approach solving problems is really look at what are the questions along that journey and those problems that we need to solve. And one that always comes up is what the hell are people putting in their back-end search terms? And are they putting brands in there? Are they putting my brand in there? Does it make a difference to the business? Those kind of things. So, through those conversations and just having a really, really strong, brilliant engineering team with a good relationship with Amazon, we have the ability to show that. And it's just interesting to see what people put in there. And that obviously, when we get into our listing optimization tool, is really important. We approach listing optimization, which is part of this tool, Keyword Spotlight, which brings in the back-end search terms. We bring in, bullets, everything else, but we compare it across your 8 best competitors. So you can truly look at it and go, okay, if these are the keywords that I want to optimize for, how do my competitors rank versus me? What is the optimization score? What do they have in their bullets, their title, their back-end keywords? And how can I manipulate and curate is a better word, curate my listing to truly have the best potential of the maximum potential around the keywords that I want to optimize for. So, that's how we approach it. And back-end keywords is a big part of that.
I think it's really cool. So speaking of listings, we got a question from Brett. He says, hey, Jon, does Zon Tools have listing notifications? If so, does it have anything that can help sellers proactive to black hat catalog attacks? Any specific tips for better account protection? The reason this question is coming up is because we've been frequently talking about black hat attacks where somebody will load a listing over into Canada and muck with somebody's keywords, and it affects them in the US. So with that context in mind, any listing notifications part of your tool?
Yeah, absolutely. So Brett, thanks for the question. And I laugh in the beginning because he says Zon Tools and we're Zon Guru coming up with names, right? I think we were the original Zon. We were like, hey, back in 2014, Zon, Amazon Guru. And there's obviously been a bunch of other tools that have come out with the Zon in it. So anyway, but for Zon Guru, I think, yes, it's a big tool and feature that we have. It's called Product Pulse. And And we approach it slightly differently in that you can track, it tracks any events that happen to your specific product, right? And you have everything from like, obviously hijacking to price changes to, FBA changes to your inventory size, all those kind of things that affect you, and you'll get alerts for any of those. You get alerts, and you'll get them from an email. We also track it on the dashboard, so you can truly see over time what were the things that impacted your business. But we also allow you to track your top competitors, and that was a really interesting and pivotal thing for us. And the reason we do that is, when I think about my Amazon business and I'm like, why did my sales go up or down? Was that because, it's something that happened to my listing, something Amazon did, or is it something that happened in the competitive space? And you truly have to understand all three of those things to understand what's impacting your business. So you can track your competitors. You can see historically over time what happens to what have your competitors done. You'll get alerted if they change their prices, they go out of stock, all of those kind of things. So we have a lot of tracking that you can do. And importantly, historically, you can see that in your dashboard. So, that I always had that question where I look at my revenue over the month and I'm like, why do my sales go up and down? And I can look and I can see, my sales went up because my top two competitors, ran out of stock, or my sales went down because my top two competitors dropped their price, those kind of things.
Well, I think that's great. The next question comes in from Eugene. And by the way, we're showing on the screen here the actual product post demo from ZonGuru on the screen here. So next question coming in from Eugene. How often does data get updated, i.e. keywords?
Good question. So it depends on which tool and how many times, but keywords essentially, I think it's once a day or twice a day. We'll look at rank and update it. It depends on which tool and where we're putting the data from. Sometimes you only get data from Amazon once a month. Sometimes we get it, every second, sometimes, once a week. So, we put it in from Amazon when we get it, but importantly, we update it when we think it's in the frequency that we think is necessary for selling. So, it's pretty spot on with keywords, at least once a day on that. Yeah.
Got it. Brett also asked, what keyword tracking strategies and iterative SEO improvements to listings and PPC do you recommend for continuously improving ranking? Any ZonGuru tools that can help?
Thanks, Brett. You throwing them out there. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So I think so. We have a keyword tracker tool. I think out of all the tools out there, we track the deepest. So I think we go up to position 400. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere around that. I think we truly go pretty deep on our keyword tracking tool. And the reason we do that is it's not all about, when you're launching a product and you're trying to grow it, it's not all about being on page one, right? You've got to kind of track from the lowest ranking that you have and see how you can improve. So that's number one. We have a really strong keyword tracking tool. I think from the second part of your question, which is around how do you iterate and improve your SEO and relate it to PPC, that's a really, really strong area of focus for anybody around Amazon. And I truly, we've got a case study on this. If you go into our blog and you look up the business case study, we do it with our CTO, who's a 7-figure seller, and we jump into how to invigorate a listing just using SEO, keywords, SEO, and PPC. And we took a listing that was flatlined and we brought it back to sales just using those two approaches. And it's important to understand that if you have a decent product, you really only need SEO and PPC at a basic level to do well on Amazon. And if you have a good product and it converts, you'll do great. You don't need anything else. And the reason people don't get that right is they don't truly understand how to do it. And so there's a few strategies that we have there. One is called the halo effect, and that's about targeting not only your main keywords, your main revenue and search volume keywords, and putting those in your listing, but understanding what are some of those longer tail keywords that are less competitive. And we have a way of showing those keywords versus your competition, picking out those less competitive keywords, and then putting that into your listing. But importantly, also putting a PPC campaign around those specific long tail keywords, because the theory is if I can get more conversion for some of those more relevant longer tail keywords that my competitor either haven't targeted or is less competitive, the algorithm will start to see your conversion rate going up there, and it will cause a halo effect for some of your higher search volume, more short-term keywords. So that's one strategy that we truly put in place to really help with SEO ranking over time. And I think the third most important point is with PPC, be patient. What we find all the time is people are jumping in there, changing it all the time, and you've got to have a consistent, well thought through strategy. Hey, when do I put keywords in? When do I check them? When do I actually decide to negative match and pull them out? When should I leave them and see if they actually get it? All of those strategies, it takes time, and you've got to be able to spend a little bit of money up front, lose a bit of money up front to gain at the end, and that's a process of a month to 2 months to really start to get that to work. So be patient, have a good strategy.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like an investment. So you touched on a really good point there about traffic. So there's traffic on the right and conversion on the left. So when you're improving these things, I'd say one is easier to improve than the other. And I think you and I are aligned on this question, by the way. But how much easier do you think traffic is to improve versus improving conversion rates from your experience?
That's a good question.
Quantify it as best you can. Is it 20 times easier, 5 times easier? What do you think?
To get more traffic or to get more?
Yeah.
More...
So like say proportionate sales differences between growing traffic versus growing conversion, right? So there's no stat or performance number or percentage we could quote. Like you can't be like 10,000 more traffic equals 2% conversion rates, because it's different for everybody, right? But just in general, from a high level, how much easier do you feel like it is to increase your traffic from SEO and PPC versus trying to fix the conversion rate, the photos, the design, that kind of stuff?
I don't know. You kind of got me there. I think to be honest, and I'm trying to think of either from my perspective or the customers that I use, I always think there's a massive opportunity around conversion rate that is missed. I think targeting the right keywords, running PPC to that, and making sure that those relevant keywords you can truly convert on. I think there's opportunity there, but there's absolutely a lot of opportunity around pulling in. You're only getting like 2 or 3% on search volume from Amazon, right? And a 1/4% increase is going to make a massive difference to your business on search volume and everything else. So there's definitely on both sides, but I don't know. I'd be interested in your answer.
No wrong or right answer, in my opinion. I would say it's somewhere between 5 and 10 times easier to grow traffic versus improve a conversion rate on an average listing. And the reason I say that is
which keywords are you thinking overall, or are you
just total overall, right?
Okay.
Like so if somebody is going to redesign their A+ content, they might improve their conversion rate 1 or 2 points. Mm-hmm. But if somebody said, "Hey, I'm gonna spend an extra $1,000 on PPC this month for that same listing," way easier to generate the sales and income. So it seemed like what you were saying.
Just sorry, one question on that as well is I think it's also important, in my opinion, that to truly grow your traffic, you need to improve your conversion rate. Because I think if you start to really improve your conversion rate, not only the traffic that you're trying to put in from PPC, etc., but how the algorithm and how Amazon actually shows you your traffic is going to exponentially increase. So just a caveat on this, like, you've got to at least have a decent conversion rate. And if you don't, you need to work on that first. You've got to get that good, and then you can really scale your search and your traffic.
I totally agree with that. When you initially started talking about the traffic and the SEO and the PPC as kind of the halo effect, I thought that's kind of where you were heading, is saying like traffic's really important, focus there. And then you've kind of got the other side of the conversion coin filled out, and they do link together. So I totally agree with you. So it's interesting to see that correlation. And of course, like if you try and index for a keyword that is show up in the top 300 or 400 search results for it, if you showed up on slot 1, but you never converted for it, you wouldn't be in slot 1 for very long. So I completely agree. Conversion matters. All right, so let's go to the next question here. So what do you think the next wave of Amazon tech tool features to be developed across the main players? Any cool plans for future ZonGuru features? This is definitely one question I was going to ask if somebody didn't. So this is a good one.
Yeah. Where to start with that? I think
it's like you can't reveal your whole plan, right?
No. I mean, look, I think the one thing that I'm probably most excited, and this is not a tool specific question or answer right now, but I'm going to get there. But I think one of the things that I'm probably most excited about, and I haven't been this excited in a long time, is the growth of Amazon outside of Amazon.com. You know, the emerging markets, Amazon Australia, it's the fastest growing Amazon marketplace in the world right now. Some of the European countries like Italy, France, you know, all of this is a result of obviously 2020 and the massive shift to online. But you know, Amazon is moving into emerging markets, and what's amazing about doing that is it's kind of like a nostalgic look back at Amazon.com in 2012. You know, at some of the opportunities that you're seeing that you can actually get into as a private label seller in these new markets is massive. You know, and that's where I would be putting my focus right now as an Amazon seller is some of these emerging marketplaces. So, you know, that's what's really exciting to me. And we've actually done a full integration. We're the first in the world out of all the tool sets to have a full integration across research and seller tools in the US, Europe, and now Australia as well. So, you know, that's really exciting for us. And we're getting a lot of interest and a lot of people jumping on in Australia right now.
Audience in Australia, like there's a solid portion of my clientele is focused in Australia. So yeah, I think you're smart to tap into that network. Yeah,
I mean, and you know, India is next on our list. We're a couple of weeks away from having that integration. That's pretty confidential, but not really anymore. So whatever.
It's not confidential anymore.
Yeah. So you know that's on our list. We're excited about that. You know, and this is the amazing thing about Amazon is like if you can build for Amazon.com, and it's such a micro niche within a niche, and you have to differentiate your product, and you have to create an amazing product to truly stand out from the competition. If you can take those smarts and apply it to some of these emerging markets, that you don't even have to go that micro niche. We're calling it a macro niche. You can kind of go massive. You can launch some of the products that you could launch on Amazon.com, 4, 5, 6 years ago. You can get in with enough capital, and if Amazon keeps growing like it's growing in a year's time, that is going to be a huge business for you. It's there, and we have the history to show it. So that's kind of like the thing that I'm most excited about. In terms of tools, we're really excited with the level of tools that we have in ZonGuru right now. I think probably one of the tools that are most valued is our keyword research and listing optimization tools. I think they're way beyond anything that's in the industry. So we're doubling down a little bit on that. Our research tool and the niche radar and how we answer that simple question, which is like, is this a niche that I need to go into? How do I validate that? I think we have a really great way of answering the right questions with data so you can make a confident decision. So we have some future upgrades happening there. And we're an all-in-one tool set, so there's always opportunity around definitely launch, inventory management. PPC is that's a tool in itself, and I think some people are starting to get that right. We have some good ideas around that. That's probably long term, but I think over the next years we're going to really grow in all of those tools. And we started all in one, but I think Jungle Scout was research. They're trying to get a little bit more into the all-in-one. I think Helium 10 was kind of keywords, and they've become all-in-one. So that's where they're going, and I think that's where our competition is going to be in the future, and we're gonna keep going in that direction. So one of the challenges I think is within the all-in-one, and with how much opportunity there is out there, keeping a focus on what we're truly going to own in the space, and having the team to support that. And that's an awesome challenge in itself as a CEO.
When you're growing a company and you're like, what ground do I defend, right? Like the moment you go outside of this ground, right? Like you're no longer a 10 out of 10, at least not initially. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I totally understand that fully. I've had to defend the ground for my Amazon guide. We're a Seller Central agency, everything digital within Seller Central, because the moment we pivot outside that, the moment we try and run Facebook ads or Vendor Central accounts, the sophistication just like skyrockets. So I totally get what you're saying on.
Yeah, it's that balance between jack of all trades versus being an expert in one. And I think, we could spend, for sure, we could, and we do this, and it's kind of how we set up our engineering team. But we have product teams that are focused on creating new iterations and new tools, and then we have a product team focused on improving the current tools we have. And we have to have those in parallel because, especially when you have that breadth of tools and on top of that, adding marketplaces, the exponential work that needs to be done
like building 20 tools instead of 5.
Yeah.
Exponential.
I think at the end of the day, like we solve problems for Amazon sellers by providing, relevant, accurate data at the right time, but also visually in the right way. So you can answer questions about your business. So you can be confident about your decisions. That's what we own. And we'll continue to provide value on that. And we might lose some ground here, but we're going to gain here, but we're just going to provide value and keep going. No, that's the way.
Value is definitely where it's at. One of the things that I've struggled with is I've seen the commoditization of data research and tools, right? So like everybody's looking at the same niches and all the data says go launch here. And then 5 weeks later, everybody's launched there. And then you're like, why did I do that? There's too much competition, right? So like how you've probably thought about this. How do you solve for differentiation of like not sending everybody the same niche because the data says go there?
Yeah. I think I've got 2 answers to that. The first one is, when I speak to our expert sellers who use ZonGuru, the first thing they say is like, don't tell anyone else about ZonGuru. Because, they get, and I'm like, well, that's cool for you, but not cool for me. We are smaller than a lot of the bigger companies out there. Some of the bigger competitors, we are smaller, and obviously there's some advantage in that. Because especially with keyword, with keywords on fire, one of the things that we're seeing is when you look at local markets like Germany or Italy, France, and you use our tool and the way we access keywords, even the US, you're seeing opportunity in those keywords that you're not seeing anywhere else. And we truly focus on like finding the data that the actual customers search on Amazon, and then also putting in some relevancy filters so that the data you're seeing is actually really relevant for the problem you're trying to solve. A lot of these tools out there that just give you so much and you kind of have to weed through that, and it's so inefficient. So we really focus on relevancy, accuracy, and obviously making sure we deliver on the opportunities there. So I think that's the first thing with ZonGuru, and just the way we access data is unique and it's keyword driven, which is different to some tools out there. So that's the first point. The second point is it's kind of a lame excuse, honestly, to say, hey, well, I'm looking at this niche and everyone else is looking at this niche. The difference between looking at a niche and actually taking action and launching a business is there's 1% of people that actually launch a product on Amazon. The opportunities are massive. They're global. They're huge. If that's your excuse, you're not in the right place for this business, honestly. I'll have that conversation all day.
I like that answer, to be honest. It's very Elon Musk answer. So, all right, let's go to Eugene here. Following under Brett's question, to continuously improve rankings, even for products, and he's talking about 3-star review products, which not very many people have that problem. Do you have any advice for somebody that's got 3-star review products? Can they improve their rank? What are your thoughts?
To consider improved rankings, even for products with an average of 3-star reviews.
Right. So they got a 3 out of 5-star product. Do they have any hope?
Yeah, I think probably not. Unless there's been some kind of black hat where they put in a whole bunch of negative reviews and you got to figure that out. I think when you drop into that 4.2 star and below, it's a struggle. And this is the whole challenge with Amazon, right? Is as soon as you have to start swimming upstream against the algorithm, you're in trouble, right? I would say that hands down. And that's why so the answer to that, Eugene, is that you have to go back, look at the problems and fix the problems with your product. And if they're not really fixable, you might have to deprecate that product and start again. And that happens all the time with Amazon, right? The successful Amazon sellers, they have one product that launches, maybe it does well, it fails. They launch another one. That's how you truly scale your business. It's not about just launching one product and going, this is my one-hit wonder, and I'm making $1 million a year. That you have to launch 5, 6, 7 products. That's the path.
Plus, have like a shelf life of like 18 months on Amazon. So if you're not continuously launching, you're going to be done anyway.
Yeah, that or kind of the second answer to that question is that's why I always emphasize do your homework up front when you're launching a product. Everyone tends to skip on really truly understanding the avatar. Who's your customer? What is their love? What do they love? What do they hate? What is the emotional connection with those people? How can I differentiate my product in a smart way, not over capitalizing, that truly connects with that customer, that through my brand, through my product, through differentiation, that I can create this moat around a product that completely connects with them, so that my conversion rate is up, my reviews are up, my experience is up, and that's the way to create a long-term brand, not only on Amazon but beyond Amazon, right? And that's the difference between someone who's like, hey, I want to create a brand, I want to start on Amazon, I want to scale, I want to create a true e-commerce brand, versus someone who's like, hey, I see an opportunity, I'm going to create a kind of a product and slap it on Amazon, sell it, make a few bucks, maybe then, you know, the Chinese jump on it and my margin's gone and I've moved on to something else. There's two different ways to approach it. One, frankly, is maybe short term and you're going to run into problems. The other one, you have a longer term business.
Sierra, can you post the video we did with market polarization? I think John would love that video, and our audience would too. So completely agree with John. You got to know who your avatar is very much. Now let's go to Matt here. I manage multiple Amazon accounts in the UK as well as my own. Do you have multiple login versions to keep accounts separate? He says, sorry, I currently use H10 mainly, but always looking for other tools to help.
Yeah, Matt, cool. Yeah, definitely check it out. I think, so right now on ZonGuru, you have multiple marketplaces, right? And then with multiple markets, you have the ability to add a separate account at a discount. And it kind of works depending on how many you have. So we have a solution for that, but it's not as fluent as just kind of looking in there and kind of jumping between accounts. That's probably something we're going to look at, but you do have the ability to have multiple accounts at a different scaling cost. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Brett here. Does your keyword tracker identify hidden suppressions? And so he goes on to talk about what I'm talking about. So this is a thing I've coined myself. So what a hidden suppression is when you type in your product, it's unindexed temporarily, but there's nothing on the back end, no red flag, nothing. To my knowledge, there's no tool in the market that can track a hidden suppression. And the way that I've been telling my audience to trace that is to go on to Amazon, and I'll show this right here. Let's pull this back up on screen. So if I just picked up a random product here. So if I grab this ASIN right here and you type in the ASIN to Amazon, if the product comes up, it's not suppressed. But if the product does not come up searching for the ASIN, it is suppressed. And I call it a hidden suppression because the backend doesn't say anything. There's no red flag. So hopefully that was a good definition. Do you have any ideas on this one?
I don't. That's pretty interesting. And I don't think keyword tracker is probably the right place to put that, right? I think that would probably go into product pulse as an alert to say, hey, this is a suppressed listing, and then alert you to that, right? I think that's probably the better place for it to sit. I'd have to follow up on that, but yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, yeah. I'd like to see if we can solve that.
I would love to see that. If you solve it, we'll bring you back on to talk about how you solved it. I don't know how one would solve for it other than searching the ASIN continuously once a day or something like that. But the other symptoms I saw is it basically takes out all of the indexing of the item simultaneously. So it's kind of interesting. And
why are they doing that? Do you know?
It's the title or the image usually. So if you put the word gift in your title, they'll hidden suppress it. They won't tell you why. And then if you talk to seller support, they're clueless. They have no idea how to solve it.
Of course
and then main image. So like take Olay's thing here. Like, so this is semi-kosher, but like kind of not, because there's like an icon. And so sometimes the robots look at this and think it's a graphic that violates the main image. So they could suppress it for that. So yeah, something to think about.
Yeah, interesting. I'll follow up on that. One tool that we do have, just talking about title and image, is we do have an IP monitor tool. So if you're in the great position of being an awesome brand on Amazon, and people are kind of ripping it off and either using your images or titles or bullets for their listings or posting it in other marketplaces, we have a tool that will alert you to that. And you can obviously just kind of click on the button and get them taken down. So that's a pretty good way of at least protecting your brand a little bit.
One thing I would add to that, if you haven't listed your own items, if you're selling in the US and you got access to Canada, I would highly recommend loading your products to Canada, even if you never plan to sell them there, because that'll prevent the black hat attacks. All right, Brett asked, does your keyword tracker identify? Oh, we just did that one.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. So John, what do you consider the top 3 things Amazon sellers can do well to increase sales? Any tips that most experts don't talk about?
I think I kind of covered that answer a little bit, and I think that I'm gonna go back to first saying, make sure you've done your homework around who your audience is. You'll be very surprised as to who your audience is, who buys your product, to who you think it is, right? So doing a little bit of research there, making sure you connect with those customers is important. Number two, I think it's absolutely SEO and PPC and an alignment from a quality score between those. What keywords you have in your listing, what do you have in your PPC, and understanding how to truly scale your PPC. I think that is a time and time again when I see sellers, or I talk to sellers who are like, oh, my sales are going down. I'm like, well, how's your listing and how is your PPC? They haven't got that right. And I think there's a lot you can do just with that. And then number three, I think, and probably one of the most important, is having a strategy off of Amazon, right? I think long term, if you truly want to grow your business, having the ability to get people to your website, creating a brand experience there, and potentially using that to launch, with your list or whatever, launching your other products, or even flowing sales back through Amazon through that process. In the long term, I think can truly help you scale your Amazon business for sure. So I think those are probably three. I think one of the things that people don't use, and a kind of a tip there is using our love-hate tool, which, just as a reminder, will pull in all of the positive and negative reviews for your product category or your niche, and it will highlight kind of the themes that people love and hate about a product. Those are really cool insight tips that you can use to not only put over as overlay benefits on your images to call out what are the important things, but also put those into your product, your brand search ads, and your product ads within Amazon's setup, because those are the key things that people really want to pick out that can drive them. So it's a really cool way of actually understanding what to add. So super cool.
So this is actually pretty cool, which is why I pulled it up on screen here. So in the reviews, things that people like about the item versus what they don't. So dog loves dog bed. Dog bed's also in the hate, but notice how it's 559 in the love. Mm-hmm. So it can allow you to draw correlations on the data. And so, like, if I was going to make a new dog bed, what do I need to fix that nobody else is figuring out, right? Okay, so cooling mat. People don't like the cooling mat in the current item.
And if you actually click on, so if you click on cooling mat, just click on the cooling mat.
I'm looking at your video actually. So
right, okay, cool.
So not live environment, but go ahead.
Two tips on that. When you actually click on one of those phrases, it'll below that, and it doesn't have that below on the screen, but it actually will bring up all the reviews and highlight in the reviews where that word is being used, right? So older dog is one of them. So it'll highlight all of them, so you can kind of jump in and then see what are they talking about in that review. So it's a super cool way of diving in. And secondly, if when you first load the word cloud and there's a phrase in there like maybe dog that you're seeing a lot of, and you kind of want to exclude that word, and it will rerun the analysis without that word, and it allows you to get deeper into some of the other words. So usually if there's a common word that might not give you insights, exclude that word and it will rerun, which is super cool. Yeah.
I think it's a fascinating tool. I've never seen anything like that particular one. There was a lot of unique tools, and like the reason why John's on our podcast today, and the reason all this went down is because I was on a podcast and somebody asked me, and they're like, "Hey, how do I find somebody else's search terms?" And I was like, "I don't know. I've never done that." And I know there's a tool out there that does it, but I don't even know which one. And I had 5 people email me that you did it. And so I was like, cool, let me go check this out. So I do a review, and I did kind of like a cold review where I didn't research you at all. I just started playing with things and just hit the record button, which is kind of fun, right? And, and so what I realized is you have a bunch of unique stuff. And I was like, wow, I gotta look at my tech stack again because I didn't know. All right, so Brett's really chit chatty today. He's got lots of good questions, so we'll keep pulling him on since he's more chit chatty than others. What's Zon Guru's approach to inventory and stock management?
Yeah, good question, Brett. We have on our dashboard we have a way of managing your inventory. So you can kind of add your stock at the beginning. You know what's kind of FBA will pull in your stock numbers, but you can also add in your 3PL stock count in there. You can obviously add your cost of goods and everything, and it will alert you when your stock levels are down and when you should either order from your. You can put in also your kind of lead time for your manufacturer as well as for your 3PL, and it will alert you and say, hey, you need to reorder from your 3PL because you have stock there and it takes 3 days and you're running low, or hey, you need to order from your manufacturer now because it's going to take 6 weeks for you to get the new thing. So there's a level of inventory management there that works. There's some updates that are coming there which are pretty cool. It's one tool that we want to work on further, and as everyone knows, inventory management can get pretty complicated. So there's certain ways that I think we want to improve that. There's also kind of cost of goods and applying it in an accounting way to your stock for your profits. So a bunch of stuff coming up there in the future, but at a high level, it will alert you and tell you what stock you have where and when you should order it, which is cool.
So over the last couple of years, Amazon's platform keeps changing and changing, right? Like they bring in, they take away APIs, they add APIs, they change the dashboard, they do all these different things, right? How do you see Amazon signaling any different engagement with your tool, with sellers? What have you observed, or what do you think might be changing in the next year or so?
Good question. I think as a CEO and a software and having a software business, I think one of our biggest risks is always Amazon, right? They could change things and that could put us in a sticky position. It's happened to people before. I think overall we have a really good relationship with Amazon. We've asked them these questions many times. I think third-party sellers is their biggest revenue generator out of all of their platforms. That's where they get their money from, right? Is us. So they're always going to look after us, and they truly understand that as third-party software tools, we can move quicker than they can and provide solutions in a better way to help align with their goals, right? And
without the red tape, no less.
Exactly, yeah. And we've always approached Amazon by saying, our goal is to help people create better, more unique, more amazing products that you can sell on Amazon and get in front of their customers so that they can make money and Amazon can make money. And that obviously aligns with Amazon's goals. So as long as we're aligned on that goal, they're always going to support us. And as long as we obviously doing it, within a verified way and not black hats, they align with us. So it's a good relationship, and I don't see it going away anytime soon or ever. We're helping Amazon grow their business in a massive way. And even though some of us are small SMBs and small businesses, we all add up to their biggest revenue stream. So they're going to look after us.
All right. Josh asks, any tips for launching a totally new type of product? Nobody's searching for it because it doesn't exist yet. So need to figure out how to get visibility in other ways. I'll add a little flavor to this. So I see that there's like two types of products, in my opinion, on Amazon. There's the co-op demand type products, the Me Too almost, but maybe make a slight improvement or something, right? And I think the kind that Josh is talking about here is the demand generation type, right? So he's got to create demand for his product to get it off the ground. What advice would you give, Josh?
I think the first... it's an interesting thing, right? Because the way we always approach Amazon is we say, hey, your best opportunity to launch your product is to launch it on the biggest marketplace in the world where there is demand for your type of category, right? And there's demand coming in and there's a conversion rate of average of 20% or whatever it is. That is your, people are looking for your type of product. So find the demand with less competition and launch a differentiated product and you're going to make money. So that's the approach to Amazon. And there's always that question where someone's come up with like, hey, I have this unique idea. There's no one who's looking for it. Is it worth launching on Amazon? The answer is it's nuanced, right? I think one of the first things that I would check, and an interesting way of approaching it is there demand for that product off of Amazon? So go onto Google Trends, search for that, and a lot of the times when you look at Google Trends and you look at Pinterest and that kind of stuff, there's already demand for that type of product. just not necessarily on Amazon, right? Or there aren't people selling that type of product on Amazon. That's a win. That's a golden opportunity.
You think those still exist? That's interesting, because I think a lot of people would suspect that they don't, but clearly they do. You're saying.
I think they do exist, but they exist in a niche within a niche. So they might be, they might be looking for a certain type of product, like just whatever comes to my head, gold taco holders. There's normal taco holders, but the gold one, it's just not anywhere, right? That's a stupid example because it's a color differentiation, but you kind of get my point. So if you find those and you're like, hey, people are looking for this off of Amazon, but no one's selling it on Amazon, that's a great one. If you're coming up with something that doesn't have any demand, I would say, you probably need to have your Shopify store set up. You probably need to look at some kind of Facebook campaigns, and generating your awareness that way. That's more of a brand awareness or product category awareness that you have to create, and that's a very different strategy to Amazon. But certainly, it might catch on. You'd be first. It's easy to launch your product on Amazon, or even have your Shopify drive leads and drive your sales to Amazon and kind of start generating it that way. That's how I would say that the short answer is you probably have to have some strategies off of Amazon to start generating awareness for their product. But if it's unique, you've got a good advantage.
Got to find the demand one way or another. Well, Jon, it was great having you on the My Amazon Guy podcast today. If somebody wants to get in touch with you or Zon Guru, what should they do?
ZonGuru.com. Jump on there. Again, we there's a specific rating across all industry platforms out there for customer support. And we have the highest in the industry. So we have a team there that absolutely wants to help you. Some of them are sellers. And you just reach out there. They'll guide you. That's number one. Number two, Instagram is pretty cool, especially if you're in the product research phase. We've created our Instagram channel as basically a feed of product ideas and inspiration and ways to differentiate your product. So it's not just us kind of reposting what ZonGuru is as a company. We truly give you a lot of value there. So check that out for sure. And then the other piece is our blog. We have a lot of educational content on there. Jump in, watch the, check out the blog. There's case studies. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So just jump in anytime and have a look at that too. So those are a couple of places to jump in, check out. And I think that's it. I think from our side, we are global. We are in some of those emerging marketplaces. Get in. Try us. It's a 7-day free trial. Of course, you'll find the rates. We have a researcher and a seller package. The rates are very, very competitive. They're great, and tools that you can check out. And if you have questions, just ask us. We'll happily help you out. So thanks for having me on. I'm excited to connect, and plenty more coming up. And I will follow up on that question around suppression. I'll check in with the guys. If you can send me a note or anything on that, if there's any more detail, that'd be great. But I'll check in with the team and come back to you.
All right. All of that sounds good. Before we leave today, we're going to give away a free t-shirt. So Jon, thanks for coming on the My Amazon Guy podcast. All right. So Sierra, we're going to do a t-shirt giveaway now. So thank you for everybody that stayed tuned for us for the full live. Sierra, do you have the t-shirt giveaway ready?
Wait, what's a t-shirt?
So we got a free t-shirt giveaway today.
If you want me to throw in one of ours, I'll have
sure.
to post it to the same person. How about that?
Let's do that. All right. So we got two t-shirts giveaway today. All right. So Sierra, are you ready with it, Sierra? Let's add. All right. So we're going to have, okay, well, apparently we're not ready for the t-shirt giveaway, but the first person that fills out this form is going to get a free t-shirt. So what we're going to do tomorrow with our free t-shirt giveaway is you're going to post a hashtag, and then everybody that posts the hashtag MAGShirt tomorrow will be putting in a drawing, and we're going to do a little spin wheel. So whoever the first person to fill out that form was, we're going to give that t-shirt to you. We'll also give that information over to Jon, and we'll give you one too as well. Thanks for everybody for watching the My Amazon Guy podcast, and hope you guys have a great one. We'll see you.
All right.